Hi, this is Dr. Cooper. This is a podcast for the ENG102 learning community. All right, we are starting Module 4 this week. You can see here that Module 4 has now been moved up. Make sure that you have done all of the things in Module 3 before Module 2 will open up. So here you see that you have to view this page. So make sure that you look at that page. That should have been the first thing that you did when we started that module. And then other than that, that's all you have to do before this module will open up for you. Okay, so for module 2, or excuse me, module 4, you see that we will be doing module 4 for the next 3 weeks, March 26th through April 15th. And we have lots of different things to do. So let's go ahead and look in the module 4 overview. Now, we are basically continuing our research process so that we can continue to write our papers. We're also going to further develop our ability to read critically, generate original ideas, and then present those ideas persuasively in an academic college level essay. So we just finished paper 2, so we have 2 more papers to write before we finish our final paper. So that's what we're doing there. We're also going to practice some more of our critical reading skills as well in this module. We will refine strategies for academic research. Okay, we will refine strategies for understanding and evaluating sources, refine strategies for searching card catalog and online databases, and also reference sources for our paper. And then again, we will practice our note-taking skills by writing paraphrases and quoting sources from the sources that we find. So like I said, this module will focus on arguing the issue or problem depending on which type of paper that you wrote. So paper 2, you all defined an issue or defined a problem. So we're looking at those papers now because they were due just last night by midnight. So in this module, what we want to start out with doing is going back to assignment number 7, which was assigned last week, but we really couldn't do the assignment until your papers were turned in. So I set up the groups for the students who turned in their paper on time. You are now in groups of 2, and you will do your peer review assignments. So we'll talk more about that. But that's why there's no points there, because it's in module 3. All right, so we will have 2 journals again for on Google Plus. So those are our 20 points. You will write a third research prospectus for this module. You wrote one last module as well, and the module before that. You also have another research assignment number 9, where we will look at reference books. So we will go to the library to do that. And assignment number 8 is scholarly journal searches. So we're looking for peer-reviewed journal articles for this assignment. And then you will write that should say paper 3, which is arguing your position or proposed solution. And that's another 100-point paper. And then again, some of you aren't working on your personal learning plans, but those of you that are, we have another part that you need to start working on. So at this point, you should have been up to 20%, I think it was, 25%, I can't remember, 40%. Anyway, I will add on to that percentage, and I think by the end of this module, you should be done up to 30 or 75%. Okay? Personal learning plans, by the end of the next 3 weeks, you should be up to 75%. And then we will have a quiz. All right, so speaking of quizzes, one of the first things you're going to do this week is a quiz for Module 3. So you want to go back and review your reading because you will have a quiz in class on the Module 3 readings. So make sure whenever it says to read something or to go to connect composition and read something, that's what you're responsible for learning. The assignments that I've been giving you on connect composition also relate to the quizzes that I will be giving you. So make sure that you're doing that as well. All right, so for week 11, like I mentioned, we're going to do assignment number 7, 8, and journal 13. So let's go ahead and look at week 11. All right, so I changed this up just a little bit so it's clearer for you to understand. But basically, it shows you what you should do for homework before you come to class. So before you come to class tomorrow, you want to make sure that you know who's in your group and what you have to do for assignment number 7, and you started reading over your group mate's paper. Okay? You also will need to review the chapters that you've been assigned in the ARQ. All right, answering or asking the right questions. That's the textbook for reading. And then you want to read this lesson called Writing Arguments. So all of these things will prepare you to be able to do the work for this week. Then in class on Tuesday, you're going to start searching for scholarly periodical articles. So I will give you a lesson in class that will help you with that. and then you have another handout called the Toolman model of argument. So it's going to be very difficult for you to write an argument if you don't understand what argument is. So I've already assigned to you previously chapter 10 in Connect. I would go back and review that chapter as well. But the Toolman model of argumentation handout goes over what you learned in chapter 10 as well. And in the module 4 quiz, a lot of the quiz material will be over this handout in chapter 10. So make sure that you have read chapter 10 and learned, not just looked at it, learned what you should have learned. Okay, and then online for this week, for the hybrid portion of the class, you will finish assignment number 7 and 8, and you will do your journal number 13 reflection. And you can't do journal number 13 until after you have looked at the feedback that you got from your peer in in the peer review assignment. Okay, so more on that later. But for now, we have the Module 3 quiz that's coming up online as well. Oh, that's online, not in class. All right, a couple of reminders. Don't forget your personalized learning plans and your bonus points survey. So some of you have actually been doing a really good job of doing your personalized learning plans. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to earn some bonus points to boost up your grade. And then, of course, those of you that have not been doing your personalized learning plan, if you go in and actually do some of it before you try to take the survey, I will give you bonus points as well. But you can't really do the survey if you haven't done the personalized learning plan. So go ahead and click those links and get started with that. So just to give you a heads up of what's going on with the personalized learning plan, let's go ahead and go there first. Okay, so here's the learning plan. If you notice, back uh, in February, we did the diagnostic test, and you got 10 points for doing that, for some of you that did it. And then part 2 was learning plan module 2, where you were supposed to complete 20% of the grade of the learning plan. And now, after the end of Module 3, which was just Sunday, you need to be up to 50%. So I'm going to go in probably on Wednesday to grade Part 3. And if you are up to 50% by that point, you will get full credit, your 10 points for that part of this assignment. Okay, so I know for a fact that some of you aren't there. I just gave you credit for your Part 2 where you were supposed to be at 20%. And now you're supposed to be at 50% by Sunday, last night. So by Wednesday, if you're at 50%, you can get full credit, but you need to get in there and start working on it. Now, for this module that we just started, you will need to be up to 75% by the end of the module. So that gives you 3 weeks to get to 75%. Okay? So that's how this is being graded. So you get 10 points for each section, and it adds up to 50 points total. So at the very end, by April 30th, I'm looking to see that you've completed your learning plan at 100%, and then you'll get another 10 points, and the whole thing adds up to 50 points. Okay, so click on this link. It will take you directly to Connect Composition so that you can log in, and then right there you will see at the very top of your class the handbook. It won't say handbook activity. It'll just say learning plan. Okay, so go ahead and click that link and start working on your personalized learning plan. Okay, so back in week 11 this week. All right, so you have chapters 1 through 12 that you've been assigned in reading that I want for you to read over again for my class, because you cannot do assignment number 7 if you're not familiar with these chapters, and more on that later. And then this is the lesson that I referenced up here that you need to look at, and then of course this is the handout. So when you click on the lesson tab, it'll take you over to a lesson, and it will talk all about what is argument. There are only 3 pages, so go ahead and read through these pages and take notes with what you are learning on these pages, because it's going to be very important for writing the essay that you are about to write. So it talks about the development of the position paper and so forth. So don't skip that lesson. That is what you are doing online as part of your online course for this week. And then, of course, the handout, the Toolman model of argumentation, is a handout, and you can read that as well as part of your online. So you can see that mine pops up as a, why does it pop up as a picture? Well, I have to fix it, but it should be an article, PDF file. So I'll make sure that that pops up correctly so you can read it. All right, moving on. So let's look at assignment number 7. This is the first thing that we want to work on this week. And the key thing to remember is that this is the first thing due this week. It is due by 11:30 Thursday. So before you show up to reading class on Thursday, you should have your peer review assignment done. So I put you in groups of 2, and these are the only the people who have turned in their essay, which is really sad, I think, for a class of 20, for 8 people to do their homework and turn it in on time. But these people will have full opportunity to do rewrites and get full credit for their assignment. Everyone else is going to be docked 10% for each day it is late. So after you have received an email from me that will guide you to where this paper is so you can read it, you will then fill out this form. So the form says that you have been assigned to a pair, group of 2, to complete this assignment. So right up here, these are the pairs. So Jamie and Jorge, Asata and Casey, Kimberly and Arthur, and Veronica and Maria. These are the pairs, and they will come down. So Veronica will read Maria's paper, Maria will read Veronica's paper, and then they will fill out these questions for the peer review. Now keep in mind that your answers to each question should be at least a paragraph, 200 to 300 words. So these aren't just short answers. So put your name here, and then the person's whose paper you are reviewing here, and then you want to write up the answers to these questions. So these questions come directly from Asking the Right Questions, the textbook for your reading class. So what is the issue, or if you want to look at it as a problem, written about the paper that you are reading? Not your paper, the other person's paper in your group. Okay, discuss the issue and what kind of issue it is based on the information from chapter 2. Okay, which words or phrases are ambiguous? Explain why they are ambiguous. Again, this is from chapter 4, and you want to make sure that you write enough to explain that. Okay, what are the value and descriptive assumptions from chapter 5? How good is the evidence from chapter 7? Are the statistics deceptive from chapter 10? And what significant information is omitted? So there are 6 questions that you have to answer. Once you've written in your answers, go ahead and submit. But you have to answer at least 5 of them to get full credit. So if you answer 5 of them really well, you can get full credit. So that leaves room for one question that you might be a little weak on that I would still like for you to try to answer, but as long as the other 5 are done very well, you can still get full credit. You won't be judged on that one weak answer. Okay? So go ahead and start working on that assignment. Again, you will receive an email that you have been given access to the essay that you have to read. So Jamie and Jorge will get 2 emails. One will have Jamie's paper attached to it in Google Docs, and Jorge will have Jamie's paper and his paper attached in Google Docs. So these emails have been shared to your school email addresses. So make sure you check your meid@maricopa.edu email address to get access to those files. Remember, 11:30 by Thursday if you want full credit and the opportunity to do a rewrite on your final paper. Okay, so once you have finished assignment number 7, you move on to assignment number 8. And I'm not going to talk much about that right now because I have another lesson that I'll go through assignment number 8 for you, since that's part of your online portion of the class this week. But once you have finished assignment number 7, you will get the review sent to you in an email, and then after you review the review, you can then do your journal number 13, which is your reflection on the peer reviews. Okay, now before I get to that peer review, let's go back to assignment number 7. Now, as an option, if you are reading someone else's paper and you notice that there is a mistake, you don't just read over the mistake. It's just common courtesy to point out that mistake. So as you're reading through the paper to do the peer review and you find a mistake, go ahead and leave a comment for the student so that they can fix that error. So if you see a misspelled word or a typo or a comma error, or just something doesn't sound right, leave as much feedback as you can on that paper. If I feel that you've done a really good job of leaving feedback, I'm going to award you some bonus points on that assignment. Okay, so make sure that you are being courteous of the person in your team and you're trying to help them out, just like they will hopefully help you out. So if you leave comments for them, they will hopefully leave comments for you. And if they don't, they're going to hear about it from me. Okay? So be generous with your uh, criticism on the papers that you are looking at. Okay, so for journal number 13, pretty easy journal. All you're going to do is read the feedback that you got back from the other person in your group, and you'll just summarize what they had to say about your paper. And I'm not talking about the how the paper was written. I'm talking about how you handle the evidence in your paper, because that's what we are evaluating. Really, we're looking at what the issue is in your paper and what evidence you used and so forth. So when you summarize it, we're not looking for you to say things like, well, they said I had a bunch of misspelled words. That's not that kind of a summary or or reflection that I want. I want it to reflect on what they said in the assignment number 7. Okay? So keep that in mind for that. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to come back and talk about assignment number 8 later in the week. So that'll give you something to do on Thursday. But make sure that you are looking at the lesson that I have provided for you, the handout that I've provided for you, and of course the textbook that you have been, chapters that you have been assigned in the reading course up to this point. So now it's time to start using what you should have learned previously in this class. Okay? All right, so that's it for now. Good luck this week, and don't forget that I did give you an opportunity to get some bonus points, but you have to do your personalized learning plan. At least get started on it. Some of you, it's just ridiculous, have 0% at this point, or 2%, and not the 50% that you need to have. Okay, so here is the survey that I talked about, and there's the link. So if you click that link, you should be able to get on over and participate in that survey and earn bonus points in my class. And you can also earn a gift certificate from McGraw-Hill by participating as well. But make sure you do your personalized learning plan first. Okay, that's it for this for today, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.